Donald Trump is doing nothing new. A deal maker, a peacemaker, the man who will end wars. But the truth is, he's not the first American president to flaunt this role, because Washington has always been quick to take credit. Credit for the wars that actually ended, and sometimes even the ones that started. And that brings us to an uncomfortable question. If America is ending one war, where is it starting another? We might have the answer now.
President Trump has been very clear and consistent. He's prepared to use every element of American power to stop drugs from flooding into our country.
I have received calls from several places in the world expressing, first, their concern, second, their solidarity.
There have been a massive military buildup near Venezuela, and obviously not everyone is happy about it. Is Trump looking for a confrontation with Venezuela? Are we witnessing a slow regime change? And how are China and Russia being dragged into it? I'm Ananya Dutta, and this is Grey Zone. It's a funny thing about the United States of America. Presidents change, Democrats, Republicans, but their foreign policy doesn't. And Venezuela is a perfect example. For decades, Washington has tried to control Venezuela's power lines from the outside, not just through sanctions and oil politics, but by shaping the country's very politics. Like in 2019, when hundreds and thousands of people took to the streets of Caracas against Nicolas Maduro, US officials openly backed the protests. When elections rolled around, Washington amplified claims of fraud. And when Juan Guaido, Maduro's opposition, declared himself the interim president, guess where he was warmly received? The White House. During the last 4 years, a wave of Venezuelans, most fleeing the political and economic chaos under Maduro, flooded towards the US. Some were members of drug cartels. Each move may look different on paper. Protests, ballots, opposition leaders, but they all have one thing in common: America trying to decide who runs Venezuela. But today, there is more at play. A major buildup of US naval forces is underway just outside Venezuela's waters. US officials say that up to 3 guided missile destroyers would soon arrive in the region. The naval warships will target boats operated by drug cartels transporting fentanyl to the US. Reports say also headed to the region is the Iwo Jima amphibious ready group, including the USS San Antonio, the USS Iwo Jima, and the USS Fort Lauderdale, carrying 4,500 sailors and another unit of 2,200 Marines. The destroyers heading towards the zone outside Venezuelan territorial waters are the USS Jason Dunham and USS Gravely, both warships that recently featured in the campaign against the Houthis in the Red Sea. A third destroyer, the USS Samson, may soon join.
We categorically reject the orders of the United States government to deploy military forces under false pretexts, with a clear intention of imposing illegal interventionist policies that are contrary to the constitutional order of the states of Latin America and the Caribbean.
This latest flashpoint comes after fiery political rhetoric. This is from January 10th, even before Trump had entered the White House, and he was already talking about expanding sanctions and openly supported Maduro's opposition. Then in March, he warned that any country which buys oil from Venezuela will face a 25% tariff. The last nail in the coffin came this month when Trump ordered the Pentagon to deploy warships against the drug cartel.
President Trump has been very clear and consistent. He's prepared to use every element of American power to stop drugs from flooding into our country and to bring those responsible to justice. The Maduro regime is not the legitimate government of Venezuela. It is a narco-terror cartel. In Maduro, it is the view of this administration, is not a legitimate president. He is a fugitive head of this cartel who has been indicted in the United States for trafficking drugs into the country.
So we need to keep in mind this isn't about one thing. It's the history of interference, politics of oil, issue of immigration, and the economics of drugs. Now let's add to it geopolitics. The US administration has said little about its intentions, so it really makes you question whether the end goal is just to counter drug smuggling boats or a potential regime change war. And where there's the US, China and Russia aren't far behind, and vice versa, it depends on who you ask. Let's start with Beijing. It has poured more than $60 billion into Venezuela since the year 2007, making it the country's single largest creditor and a lifeline for the government, which faces US sanctions, by the way. With the world's largest proven oil reserves, Venezuela also anchors China's long-term energy security strategy. That's why Beijing has been quick to condemn the US naval buildup, dismissing it as unwarranted quote-unquote interference in internal affairs. And just as US warships were circling Venezuelan waters, Maduro put out this on social media. I'm quoting from it, "I'm happy with the progress in our mutual cooperation with sister China, especially in economy, science, technology, and artificial intelligence projects." And piggybacking on China's influence, Russia has entered South America. Just a month ago, a report surfaced that Moscow may be preparing to deploy its newly operational Oreshnik hypersonic missile system to Venezuela. Remember, this is capable of striking targets up to 5,500 kilometers away, and the speed is 11 times faster than sound. If deployed to Venezuela, the system would place parts of the southern United States and Caribbean under its potential strike envelope. I should mention, no official confirmation has come on this deployment.
I have received calls from several places in the world expressing, first, their concern, second, their solidarity. And I have told them all the same thing I tell you: be calm. Just as yesterday we triumphed against the threats of imperialism, Venezuela will triumph again over all the extravagant, bizarre, criminal threats of US imperialism.
These developments have prompted Venezuelans to enroll in the military even more.
The position of us, the Venezuelan soldiers of all ranks and military hierarchies, is that we prepare to guarantee that our homeland is impregnable, and we do not care about the size of the force that tries to touch Venezuelan territory.
In other words, Venezuela is no longer just Venezuela. It's a proxy battlefield, one that could decide whether the Caribbean becomes the next flashpoint of great power rivalry. I'm Ananya Dutta. You've been watching Grey Zone.